In today's episode, we continue our search for Fort Thomas Parker on the farm reported in George Washington's letters. In the last episode, I was joined by Rob as we searched another site on the farm. We could not determine if what we found was the site or not. I am joined in this detection by Cliff Sellers and my buddy Tom. We're on site, and we are on the site of what I hope to be a 1756 French and Indian fort. I'm here with Cliff from the Wandering Woodsman. You guys probably have heard of him by now. If not, I'll put a link to his channel above and below. You go check his channel out. Got great content. I love his stuff, and he's here doing history with me, and we're going to be looking for this French and Indian fort. It's spoken about in George Washington's papers. I'm told it's here. It's either on this farm right here where we're at, or it's on the farm that I've already shot, but it's here somewhere. And I already see some stoneworks down here. I already see an old chimney, and a lot of times they would locate old houses where a well was, where it was already clear. And this is on a bluff overlooking the river. And this is on the western side of the river, which history says the fort was located. Let's give you a quick panoramic. It's a beautiful place. Whether we find anything or not, I don't know. But whatever I find, you'll see. All right, stay tuned. All right, you guys, I got a good hit. I just 10 feet from the tree, I just started. I just popped the plug here and I pulled it out. And right there it is. And this is an old hand hatchet. This is square. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. These they had often used for putting wood shingles on a roof. You can still find stuff that looks like this today, but I think this is probably more of an original piece than what you're going to find today. All right, that's awesome. I'm going to make a pile over here because I figure we're going to be finding a lot of things like this. And we're going to sit it right here. Oh, look, there's already something right there. Look at that. Now, I don't know if this has been metal detected before. The landowner didn't know. And, but maybe they don't have the machines that we have now. It could have been metal detected in the past. Who knows? But I'm going to check the hole again, just to make sure that was it. Yep, that was it. So we found a little hand hatchet. It's pretty cool. Let's keep going. All right, Tommy found something here. Yeah, I don't know, Tom. I mean, this could be from a wagon. It could be a farm piece. I mean, there's farm equipment right over there. I can't date this. I don't know if there's enough detail on here to date that, but it could be old. Way to go.
Like Dr. Barney and Sons, Hagerstown, Maryland, something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a cork top too.
Yep.
Oh, there's stuff
Look
on the
at
side
that.
too,
See, you don't need a metal detector.
but...
All right, you guys, I got a good artifact here, and I'm literally off the chimney. I had a good hit. I popped it out. And do you see it? This is old. This is awesome. That is pewter. That is an old pewter spoon right there. They broke easily because they were made out of lead. Lead, and there were tin in it, and it was very, very fragile, and the melt point was only about 400 degrees. You know, the fireplaces would get hot, their kettles would get hot, and these would snap real easily, and they threw them out. They transitioned from this as early as they could to something that was more durable. All right, that's awesome. All right, you guys, I come over here. Sorry about the wind. I can't do anything about it. But Cliff noticed a plant here by this old place that we're at. And Cliff, what did you say this was?
It's called motherwort. It's not native to West Virginia today. So it's always a sign that it's, you know, when the colonials moved over here, there's no plants they brought over with them. So.
And so it's very common to see at an old place like this. You
won't find it out in the woods.
And you might see something like that at an old fort, right?
It's medicinal.
All right, very cool. All right, I just dug this up out of that hole right there. And I thought maybe it's trash, but I honestly don't think it is. I think this could be part of a suspender clip. And it's got some silver gilting on it. You know, and it's round, and I think this is the part or the piece that reveals what it is. I think this is the suspender part of it. Now, is this 1700s old? No, I don't think it is. They use these clear up until the invention of the belt. But it's an artifact. And we're right here off the chimney. All right, let's bag it and keep going. All right, you guys, I just popped the plug here and I pulled this out. It's an old iron spoon, and that's old. That's really old. Now, is it pewter old? It could be. Yeah, it could be. And the hearth stood right there. That would be expected in an old place like this. Thomas Parker actually lived here before the fort was built. Okay. So his house was on the farm. And more than likely they built the fort right where his house was. So I could see the fort being right here, and maybe his house became the powder magazine. I don't know. Because of that cliff being so steep, any attack would have come from this direction over here. And so any bullets, sad to say, but any Indian or soldier's death would have been right out here, in my opinion. More than likely, the lead bullets is going to be right over there. And I also pointed this out to Tom. You see what that is? They carved a whetstone out of that. You know, the whetstone to sharpen their utensils. That's a perfectly carved piece, I believe. I believe that's a whetstone, or it could be Native American for all I know. But that's man-made. All right, you guys, I got a signal here. I thought I'd just bring you on. It's a 16, which is the same signal as that spoon. I thought I saw some china. And there's a root right here, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get down to it. Let's see. I see some grubs. We'll put him back. All right. Right there. Okay, let's get on down here a little bit more. All right. Might have to sit you guys down. Let's see if we got it. I'd like to find some old pewter buttons here, because that would help us determine if we found, what is it? Oh, right there. You guys see it? What should be a stinking Lincoln? No, it is not. It's a coin. It's a coin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to clean it up. Could be an Indian cent. I think I got an Indian cent here. All right, I'm right off the house here, And again, I know there's going to be artifacts associated with this house, and it could be built right on top of where the fort stood, and it could actually be part of the fort. Here's an old wagon wheel here. The band from a wagon wheel. Back in those days, they used to have Conestoga wagons. And there's a big misconception that the Conestoga wagon is something that you would see out west, going on the wagon trail, you know, or out on the Santa Fe trail. But actually the Conestoga wagon was more in the east and going down the Great Wagon Road. There were heavy wagons, big wagons, and I'll put a picture of one because there's one here locally on a local farm that's been restored. I'll put a picture of that. And I think this probably came from a wagon like that. I did get a hit here. I don't know, it could be junk, it could be trash. And I popped it out, and it's going to be over here, and I think I see it. I think it's going to be oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. That is another old pewter. That's old. Gorgeous. Just beautiful. That is just awesome. Right here off the chimney. And I'm going to put this over here. See if it looks like it's the same as that one. That's what Cliff found. That's what Tom found. That's what I found. I'd like to find some old Spanish coins or some old KG1s or KG2s or KG3s here. Things that you would find at an old fort site. Old blow buttons. A blow button would put us right back in that time period. Tom buck buttons would too. But definitely old pewter spoons like that also put us back. This property here was acquired in 1753. And in 1756, the fort was constructed. It meets all the requirements. It's on the farm, it's on the location, and it's on a bluff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you where the bluff is. And I'm going to point out some features that I think will confirm the fort could actually be sitting right here. But I wanted you to see this. This is really cool. Just beautiful, beautiful old farm equipment that's truly a work of art. Okay, so let's go down over here. The fort, it says, set on the west bank of the river upon a high bluff, which this absolutely is. And I don't know if you could see how steep this is, but this is about 30, 35, 40 feet down, and it's a sheer cliff. I mean, try to capture this for you. It's straight down. And, you know, the Indians would be coming here on their canoes, and they'd be with the Frenchmen. And there was a battle here, and there was a shootout here, and there were French soldiers killed here, and there were Indians killed here too. For a fort to be right here, you know, this bluff is actually very defensive. And so they would have to climb up this steep bank and they could get fired down upon. So it's very unlikely that this fort was ever attacked from this side or this vantage point. So I'm going to take you down over here so you can see a little bit of how the ground goes and just some operating theories. So this bluff curves around right here. This is the edge of the bluff right here. And the troops, they probably had an area where they could disembark right here on this water. And then they could come around this bluff right into the fort. And we have seen other French and Indian forts strategically constructed that way. So this is a prime place to put a fort. According to the history books, according to George Washington's own writings about this fort, it was attacked. It was attacked in 1756. And by now you've already heard the story. A Frenchman was killed, several Indians were killed. And more than likely, they would have come across that field right there. So the river goes around, the river bends around to the mountain there in the background. And they could come across this and they could sneak right up here to the fort. And the people at this fort would have to fire over that distance. So very unlikely they came up over this bluff they more than likely came from this direction. So there's very real possibility of us finding bullets, lead bullets out in there. And that's really what we're looking for. This is an old house site, could have been built right on top of the fort. Because Thomas Parker lived here before the fort was built. His house was here. And because of the construction style of this chimney, I think it dates from that time period. All right, so Cliff and I are down below the chimney up there. And we were thinking strategically, you know, just like up Fort Upper Track, you know, the river was here. There's a high bluff right here. The fort sat on top. And there was a way to disembark from your canoe or your boat and come around. And there is a little gully right here that goes right up. And the chimney's right there. Right there behind that pine tree is where the chimney sat. And now it's filled in with rocks. The farmer has put in fieldstone here. So, of course, when they cleared these fields, they just dumped it in here to get it out of their way. You know, they could have come up through here and went right up through there, right into the fort, and they would be completely protected. This bank here on the left, you know, that's a pretty high bank. You could walk right up through here and not be in the line of fire of anyone unless you're literally right out in this spot here. So I personally feel that of all the places that I've checked so far on this farm, that is the best place strategically for the fort. And we know that Thomas Parker lived here. And it could have been his house that they converted into a what'd you call it, a hardened? They hardened it? Or like up in Pennsylvania, you had a term for that?
House of refuge, they called it.
House of refuge.
Yeah. Just like a civilian built fort.
Yep. And that's what this could have been. You know, this was not a militiaman fort. There's very little spoken about it, but there are a couple references to it. And this could have been like a blockhouse kind of thing.
That's the other term, yeah.
A blockhouse. Yeah. All right, you guys, I just pulled this up. And this is an old style hinge. A pivot hinge for like a shutter. And this absolutely could date from that time frame. Very, very nice. Very nice. We'll put it up here with our other artifacts. This absolutely could date from that time frame, or it could date from the 1800s. All right, let's keep going. I want you guys to see this. Is that awesome or what? Just a pure piece of American history right there. Just gorgeous. So right there's the chimney. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. This is where I believe the fort actually stood. And there is a gully right here. This is the gully here that goes down there where Cliff's at, right to the river. Just a perfect area to come up. Perfectly defensible. Bam, right here. I think if there was a fort here, this is it. If the battle actually ensued here, the skirmish here, it could have been out there.
Right.
The age of that chimney, the stuff that I found there already, we're in that time frame right here. Tommy came back and he did find a little round ball. And the round ball, some people call these bucking balls, some people call them pistol balls. During the French and Indian War, the French gave the Indians real cheap French muskets. And because lead was so hard to come by, they would actually make bullets much, much smaller than the caliber that would fit in their gun. I believe this is from a French musket, and I believe that the Indians actually could have fired this. Another thing I wanted to show you, Tom found this right at the chimney. That isn't French and Indian, but what is that? We know that's metal detectors.
That's a nice little trowel.
I think so.
Indian tomahawk.
Yeah. It's, I think someone was here before us and had detected this and probably cleaned this place out. But they missed some things. I think you've seen just about everything that I have found. And I'm going to show you what we did find. And I think I'm pretty happy with it. Cliff found the bottle. That's cool. We'll take it out of here.
Syrup.
This was my highest tone, Cliff. This thing read a 32. I thought I had my silver real.
It's copper?
Yeah, it's copper, but it's not a silver real. I did find a coin here. I think this is an Indian head penny. I don't know what it is. I thought it could be a reed from maybe an accordion. You know, an accordion. And it still could be. I don't know what it is. I found 2 old pewter spoon bowls here. These are very, very old. 1700s, no doubt in my mind. Absolutely could date this place. I think this is what they call a shaker, a wood shaker, a roofing hammer. And so that's what I found. Wasn't here that long, but we're going to go on another adventure. Because, well, why not? We like adventures. So I'm going to take you guys on another adventure. Just hang tight. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Now, Cliff, you might want to show this to your fans. This is actually George Washington's survey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a survey. And here's Coldstream. Here's where we are. And here's the Pritchard Farm. Here's where we were today.
Oh, earlier today.
Yeah.
Filming.